As you can imagine, there's been quite a bit of Mickey taking in an affectionate way. It was a huge honour, as I said on the day. I genuinely appreciated receiving the award, and I honestly feel like it was a representation of my peer group, because of the job that we all do is an extremely difficult job, and I'd like to think that they feel I was representative of them as well. Perhaps most of all, it's the results of my team that got me that recognition, and it's on behalf of them that I received it on the day. I know that can sound slightly pompous, but I mean that sincerely. It's probably not across the year. In reality, it's probably across many years, and I've been with the company for 12 years, and that's the highlight and culmination for me of a lot of time and hard work. But if I was to try and refine it a little bit more, I think the beauty of what's been delivered in my region is that it is down to the fact that I've been in that region for 2.5 years. So we've got the core essence, which is stability. And if you overlay the stability with two things for me, which is a very high level of communication and then the right amount of focus. What I mean by that is focus on the right things at the right time, rather than try and do everything, which is something you can easily get sucked into, because the job we're asked to do, there's so many KPIs and we have to wear so many hats. It's important that you prioritise what you do focus on. But the essence is really around structure, communication, focus, and ultimately having the right people in the right place, both at general manager level and below them. I think it sounds corny, but work extremely hard would be the first tip I would give anybody. Don't cut corners, don't skimp. Commit the time that's required to do the job. Secondly, and the thing that I've definitely learned over the last couple of years in an area in which I've personally improved greatly, is network more. Don't be insular, don't work locally, work globally, and network much more with important people. And what I mean by that is people that are at the same level of you, as well as people that are above you, support centre people, the exec. Don't be frightened of networking with anybody that can have a positive influence on what you do and who you are and where you're going. The company's vehicles for progression now, I used to like shooting stars and the sort of work that used to go on in that area, but progressing into first management, progressing into kitchen manager and progressing into GM are brilliant modular developmental initiatives, which I know in my region we've taken huge advantage of, particularly around the kitchen. When I inherited my region, we didn't even have a kitchen manager in every site, and hardly anybody had a head chef. And when you're operating a business where the kitchen is open for 100 or more hours a week, you have to have more than just a kitchen manager, because the best kitchen manager in the world is only going to work 50 odd hours. He's only there for half of the time. So it's having the right people in the right places in the kitchen, and having a succession plan in the kitchen so that everybody from the bottom level up sees that they can progress. Someone who joins as a pot wash sees that they can progress to starters and desserts, sees that they can progress to being a chef, sees that they can become a head chef, and ultimately, if they want to, brilliant company to work for, Whitbread. The world is your oyster. If you want to go from being a pot wash to a KM, it's feasible. If you want to go from being a team member to a GM, it's feasible. Of course, you have to be good enough. You have to be committed enough, but the opportunity is there in terms of the size of the estate, and that there is space for development. It's there. It was fantastic to go there along with Tyrone and people representing restaurants. I genuinely didn't really understand the enormity of the event that I was going to. We actually went from the entrance into an ante-room, and I thought that was the function, and we then went from the ante-room into the ballroom, and there was 250 people at tables, and everybody that is anybody across the whole of Whitbread, both in this country and across Europe. All the brands were represented, everybody was there, and it started to dawn on me that Tyrone and I were there for maybe a bigger reason than I'd digested initially. It came quite soon after the Operator of the Year award, so I was still in cloud cuckoo land. And Tyrone ended up picking up the Values Award, and no better person for it. I think it's a great tag for Tyrone to say that he's got great morals and values. And I was lucky enough to be recognised for the Good Together Award, which is for our work with Great Ormond Street. It was wonderful. It's what Brewers Fair in particular, and of course my region, achieved last year, I'm incredibly proud of. I asked them all, each of my sites, to raise £1,000, which would have delivered £16,000, which would have been fantastic, and we raised 30. I've asked the same set of sites to raise £1,000 each this year, and some of them have done it in 2 months. And the site we're sitting in today, Stourbridge, has led by example and were recognised at the MK Arena, and they raised £10,000 on their own. And I've always said that we set our managers business objectives and key objectives around our KPIs, and you can't do that with GOSH. It has to be a moral objective, and I'm so proud of what was achieved here at Stourbridge within Brewers Fair Midlands, and Brewers Fair being the top brand. I think this year, because of Tyrone again, my nemesis and my arch enemy now, in a great way, I think Beefeater has got off to a flyer. The Beefeater Roms have done a stunning job with the Wolfer, and they're going to take some catching. And already in the early stages of this year, Beefeater's got the top house and brand, so there's some work to do.